Hi there. In this video, I want to share a true story. It's about my very first English conversation in a real situation in a foreign country. I was nervous. I wasn't sure if I could do it. But that moment changed everything. It gave me confidence and it taught me something important. So if you're scared to speak English in real life, this story is for you. Let's go back to the beginning. Here's what happened. Part 1. The trip begins. Last year, I traveled abroad for the first time. I went to Singapore for a short holiday. I was very excited, but also a little scared. It was my first time using English in a real country. At the airport, I saw many signs in English. I tried to read and understand everything. I felt okay until I reached passport control. The officer looked at me and asked, "Purpose of visit?" For a second, I froze. My mind went completely blank. I knew what he said, but my mouth didn't move. Then I remembered a phrase I practiced before. I smiled and said, "Tourism. Just a short trip." He nodded and stamped my passport. I felt so happy I did it. It was a small conversation, but it gave me my first win. Part 2. Ordering food at a restaurant. Later that day, I felt hungry, so I decided to try a small local restaurant. I walked in and looked at the menu. It was all in English. I saw some words I didn't know, but I didn't want to be afraid. A server came to me and said, "Are you ready to order?" I smiled and said, "Yes, I think so." I pointed to one dish and asked, "Is this spicy?" He said, "A little, not too much." I nodded and said, "Okay, I'll take it." Then I wanted a drink, but I wasn't sure how to say it. So I said, "Can I have one cold drink?" He smiled and replied, "Sure, Coke, okay." "Yes, Coke is fine," I said. I was happy he understood me. A few minutes later, the food arrived, and I felt very proud. It was not perfect, but it was real conversation. And I did it by myself in English. Part 3. Getting lost and asking for directions. The next day, I wanted to visit a famous park, so I looked at the map and took the train. But after I got off, I didn't see the park. I walked for a while, but I was lost. I felt nervous. I didn't know what to do. Then I saw a woman standing near a bus stop. She looked kind, so I walked up to her. I said, "Excuse me, can you help me?" She smiled and said, "Sure." I showed her the name of the park on my phone. She looked at it and said, "Oh, it's just 2 blocks that way." I repeated 2 blocks. She pointed and said, "Yes, walk straight and turn right." I thanked her. "Thank you so much." She said, "You're welcome. Enjoy." I followed her directions, and soon I found the park. That small talk with a stranger made me feel more confident. It was short, simple English, but it helped me get where I needed to go. Part 4. Talking to a new friend at the hotel. That evening, I returned to my hotel. I was tired, but happy. In the elevator, someone smiled at me. He looked like another traveler. He said, "Hi, are you here on holiday?" I smiled back and said, "Yes, first time in Singapore." He laughed and said, "Me too. I just arrived yesterday." We started talking while the elevator went up. I asked, "Where are you from?" He said, "I'm from Canada. And you?" I replied, "I'm from Vietnam." He said, "Cool, Vietnam is on my travel list." It was a short conversation, but it made me feel proud. I didn't use big words, just simple, clear English. And it was enough. We understood each other. When the elevator stopped, he said, "Nice talking to you." I said, "You too. Have a good night." He waved and walked to his room. I stood there smiling. It was my first real chat with a foreigner. And I didn't feel afraid. I felt connected. Part 5. What I learned from this experience. This trip was special for me, not just because I visited a new country, but because I used English in real life. And it worked. I didn't speak perfectly, but people understood me. I made mistakes, but I kept going. I asked questions, and people answered with smiles. I learned that confidence is more important than grammar, and simple English is powerful. You don't need long, difficult words. You just need to try. Every time I spoke, I felt stronger inside. I felt more free, more connected to the world. This experience showed me that English is not just a school subject. It's a tool, a bridge to other people. Now, I'm not afraid to speak anymore, even if I'm not perfect. I know I can do it, and so can you. Just start with small conversations. Speak slowly and clearly. People will understand you, and they will respect your effort. My first English conversation abroad was not easy, but it was amazing. It changed how I see English and how I see myself. I still remember my second morning in Singapore. I woke up early because I was too excited to sleep. The city looked beautiful from my hotel window, tall buildings, green trees, and busy streets. I decided to go explore the city on my own. No group, no guide, just me and my English. I walked to a nearby coffee shop. It looked quiet and cozy. I stood in line thinking about what to say. I had practiced this moment many times at home. When it was my turn, the barista smiled and said, "Good morning. What can I get for you?" I froze for a second, but then I said, "1 iced coffee, please." She asked, "Sweet or no sugar?" I answered, "Sweet, please." Then she said, "Name for the order." I replied, "Anna." She smiled and said, "Okay, Anna, 1 iced sweet coffee. Coming up." I sat down and waited. I was shaking a little, but smiling too. I did it again. Another real conversation in real English. The coffee came. It tasted great. But the better feeling was inside me. I started to feel free. Not perfect, but free. Later that day, I visited a museum. At the ticket counter, I asked, "How much is 1 ticket?" The man said $12. I gave him the money and said, "Thank you." He said, "Enjoy your visit." I said, "Thanks, I will." That was it. Simple small talk, but I was doing it. Step by step, my fear became smaller. My confidence became stronger. I even started to say hi to strangers. Sometimes they said hi back. One woman asked me for directions. I smiled and said, "Sorry, I'm also a tourist." She laughed and we started talking. We ended up walking together for 10 minutes. That moment felt magical. 2 strangers from different countries speaking English, sharing a short walk. That's when I understood something important. English is not just grammar and exams. It's not about being perfect. It's about connection. It's about using your voice, even if it's quiet, even if it's simple. That week changed me, not just as an English learner, but as a person. Now I speak more freely, even when I make mistakes. Because I know this truth, real English lives in real moments. And those moments start with just 1 brave sentence. Thanks for watching my story. I hope it gave you some courage. Speaking English abroad is not easy, but it's possible even with simple words. You don't have to wait until you are perfect. You are ready now. Just try. Say hello. Ask a question. Start small. Every time you speak, you grow. Every mistake is a step forward. You are not alone. Every English learner feels nervous at first, but the ones who succeed are the ones who don't give up. So go out there, speak with confidence, 1 word at a time. Your English doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be real. And the more you speak, the better you will become. You've got this. Let your English voice be heard. See you in the next video, and remember, keep speaking.